Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to the channel. We're doing a special video today. So this started off being I'm gonna rank 10 random horror movies from my Blu-ray shelf. I filmed the entire video, but I realized during the video when I was recording something was messing up. So I rewatched some of it, and when I was supposed to be paused as I was going over to the shelf and then play or record as I come back here, there's a couple of times where I actually pushed record when I was going over there and then pause it when I was over here. And to me, it felt like it wasn't a complete video. I couldn't publish that video. I couldn't do it. So I deleted the video entirely. I'm like, I don't want to sit and spend time and redo that tonight. I may eventually do that, so don't quote me on it though. So what I've done instead is a different style video. It's not a ranking at all. This is Scotty's ABCs of horror. My choice. I feel like I messed up. Supposed to be personal to me, right? Hold on. All right, I'm back. I had to switch one out because some of these are going to be personal to me, which is why I picked them. So, ABCs. First, I was going to roll the dice again, and then whatever number I will correspond to within the 26. There was the alphabet. It might have to be too complicated. Let me just get one from each letter and do it. So, A is going to be American Psycho. Not American Psycho 2. This is a great film. It's set in the 80s. Christian Bale is fantastic. The ending leaves it up to the imagination. Like, I don't really have a personal story with this one. Some of them I will. But, like, the ending of this film is just, leaves it up to the imagination whether or not it actually happened the way it is. Although, if you count the sequel as canon, outright that means he was killing people. Or at least after this, he really killed people. Like, it pushed him to kill people. I don't know. But it's a great film. And, of course, my favorite scene in this movie. I'll probably talk about my favorite scene in each of these movies, but I'll try to anyway. My favorite scene in this movie is Paul Allen's death. Hey, Paul! It's fantastic. For B, I picked, I know I'm in a small group. For all I know, it's just me and Jason from Sinister Cinema, but it's Blair Witch 2. Okay, I like this movie. Okay, I really enjoyed it for what it was. She's the witch, man. It's just the actors in this are great. I'm not the biggest fan of the original Blair Witch, and so everybody praises the hell out of that movie. I think it's mediocre. I think it's the most interesting, I've said this before, the most interesting thing about Blair Witch Project is the fan theories. Like Josh and Mike just took her out to the woods to kill her, and they set up to look like there's something out there. I don't know, but this actually has stuff going on, as weird as it is. I do want to see the original director's cut, though, because this was a chopped together movie. They wanted it to be completely different, more of a psychological thing, but that's not what the studio wanted, so yeah. The letter C, to no one's surprise, is going to be Child's Play. My favorite horror movie ever. Watched it when I was 7. My grandma had it on VHS from, she recorded off HBO, and I just watched it. Towards my middle school-ish years, maybe a little bit younger, I started 1998, when Bride of Chucky came out. The look of Chucky, the way he was scared the shit out of me. So I was afraid of Chucky now. And I'll never forget, when it was coming out, they're doing a Chucky marathon of the first 3 movies, because that's all there were at the time, on the USA Network, I think it was. So I was watching the beginning of Child's Play 3, and I got scared. So I turned it to what I thought was going to be safe. WCW Monday Nitro. And that was the night that Chucky was on the screen. So Yeah. And then my mom called me down one night and Saturday that Chucky, it's not a real good Chucky on Saturday Night Live. And I ran back up the stairs. I was freaked out by the new look of Chucky, but and oh, I should point out on the back of this DVD Blu-ray, they have the scarred Chucky on there. But it's literally just the good guy doll with the scars, which he's never looked like that, but you know. The letter D, Deathgasm. That's my favorite scene from Blair Witch 2 is the I don't know if I have a favorite scene. Just the favorite line. She's the witch, man. The campfire conversation is pretty cool. And my favorite scene from Child's Play is the I have one. It's when the car chase. Hey, Mikey! That one. Deathgasm is letter D. Okay? This movie is fantastic. I'm not a big metal person. I'll listen to metal. I will. But this movie kind of opened me to it a little bit more. But I know this is on metal. But this is it's like a zombie demonic possession film on crack. And my favorite scene is where he kills his cousin, and he's like, "What are you doing? He wasn't possessed. No, he was possessed. No, he was normal. Nah, he was definitely possessed." I like that. E for Evil Dead Remake. And it's not really a favorite scene. Whenever Eric gets the shit beat out of him. That is it's funny and sad at the same time because, like, this poor guy just getting the shit beat out of him. But, like, he deserves it in a way. And to me, this is the best Evil Dead movie. I haven't watched the new one yet, so don't fully quote me on that. But to me, it's the best. The second best is Army of Darkness. I'm not a great fan of the original. I will watch it, but I feel it's just very janky. And the second one is better, but it's just very hokey for me, which is what threw me off for the new one, is it looks kind of hokey. But the third one is straight cheese, but at least it's more comedy than it is horror, so it knows what it is. Whereas the second one was toning the line between comedy and horror, and it didn't really have a balance. Horror comedies are good. I love horror comedies. Deathgasm's a horror comedy. But, you know. Okay. F is Freddy versus Jason. And this one has very personal to me. My great-grandma was also a horror film lover. And she passed away. She had a whole bunch of horror films. When she passed away, I got them. And it included the original Nightmare on Elm Street and this one. Because this was very recent, I watched this not knowing anything about either franchise, but this is very recent and I really wanted to see it. And so this was the movie that really got me into horror. This I'm going to seek out more. I watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I sought out the rest of them and eventually sought out to watch the rest of the Jason ones on cable. It was, influential. My favorite scene from this movie, influential to me anyway, is when Freddy and Jason finally start to fight. You know, when they start to fight each other. It's great. All right. G. There wasn't a lot to choose from with the G. There was like 4 Grudge movies. But I decided to pick The Gallows because this movie had so much potential in it. I do not have a favorite scene, but this had so much potential. I want to get the Blu-ray just to see the original version that they had. But I wish they had stuck to the guns on the original version instead of, like, the idea of Pfeiffer being the daughter of this guy getting revenge. Well, revenge doesn't work anyway. The guy got sick, unless you were to spin it around that Reese's dad was faking and got pressured by his friends, like Reese got pressured. Just the idea of how they could have made this better makes me want to put it in here. It's got a personal thing to me, you know? H. Feeling better now that we're through. Feeling better now that I'm over you. I tried my lesson and that's for sure. And now I know what you really are. You're no good, you're no good, you're no good. Baby, you're no good. It's House. Great horror comedy from the 80s. Um, I love this movie. I really do. Um, my favorite scene is what I just did when he shoots the demonic wife and it just cuts to that song as he's burying her in the background. It's just in the backyard, excuse me. It's just funny and it's hilarious. I is in the mouth of madness, and this movie is John Carpenter to a T. I had at least one Carpenter flick. I do have another one. You can guess what that is. But just the performances of Sam Neill in this, and like, I want to see this a couple of times, so I don't think I have an actual favorite scene. But Vigo's in this, and that's pretty cool. Actually, I do have a favorite scene. It's the end of the movie where he gets out of his cell at the mental institution. He walks out. He walks to the movie theater. He does popcorn, and he's watching on the screen everything that just happened in the movie, and he's laughing. He's, favorite part. It's just fantastic. And the score in this is great. I love it. I love it. But don't love it. Joyride. My favorite scene in this movie, and it's a very minor one, it's when he picks up Fuller, excuse me. He's like, hey, I know my rights. I watch Hard Justice, the host Bill Curtis. It's just when he goes to pick him up. Because, one, Paul Walker's going to look on his face like he wants nothing to do with this. He got a car so he could go pick up the girl that he wants to hook up with. There's a thing for her. And now he has to pick up his dipshit brother. And so Paul Walker's got this look on his face like, come on, let's go. And he's cracking these jokes to the person behind the little door thing. I love it. I don't know. There's so much good stuff in this film, but that's my favorite scene. Dun, 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 dun. Kill the Clowns from Outer Space is the letter K. And my favorite scene, what are you gonna do, knock my block off? Yes. But I rewatched it with my son very recently. He liked it. Dun, 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 dun. Are you Debbie's roommates? There's so many quotable lines with this movie. It's great. It's great for 80s. Show your kids. There's not really anything bad in this. The only thing that I would be iffy about is when he says, she's got 2 roommates. They got big boobs. Otherwise, I think it's fine. There's no nudity or anything. It's a fun 80s horror film. L is going to be the Lawnmower Man. Now, there wasn't very much to choose from L, but I want to put this anyway. I wanted a Stephen King representation on this list. And I think this is the only one. So it's going to work. But I like Jeff Fahey's performance. Even Pierce Brosnan is good. And the CGI may not be the best, but my favorite scene is actually where the movie gets its name from. When Job controls the lawnmower to kill the dad or whatever. You didn't need the digital thing, but just, the way that looks is pretty cool. Yeah. M, My Bloody Valentine 3D. And I said this in the other video because it was one of the ones that was picked, but I struggled with this. I used to say this was better. Even in my original versus remake, I need to remake that video. I say this one is better because I'd only watched the original once. Having watched it a few times now, I can tell you that it's very hard to decide. I will say, though, that my favorite scene is the reveal of Tom, which didn't used to be that. Because when this first came out, I was pissed that they made Jensen Ackles the bad guy. Because he was sort of the bad guy in Devour, but that was more of a leave up to interpretation. Was it everything that we saw in the film, or was he actually doing this stuff as a devil, he had a mental breakdown or something? I don't know. But here, he was straight up villain. And I didn't like that. But the more I grew more on it, especially after watching the original, because The original's reveal is so stupid. He's just struggling, and all of a sudden, Axel, it's you. And then here, you get a better reveal where it's like, he's like, Harry Warden's dead. No. You living inside, Tom? And he's just like, oh, I'm right here. It's just the way Jensen Ackles delivers that line. It's great. All right, we're on the second stack now, which means the letter N is Night of the Creeps. Do I have to tell you my favorite scene? Well, girls, I got some good news. Well, I got some good news and some bad news, ladies, girls. Hold on, I'm trying to get. Well, I got some good news and some bad news, girls. Good news is your dates are here. What's the bad news? They're dead. I love how he answers the phone all the time. Thrill me. If I answer the phone like that, I feel like we're like, what? What? What's that? But yeah, this is great. It's sci-fi, horror, zombies, kind of. It's great. Even the look of the thing. But and I can't decide which ending is better. But this is great. Tom Atkins is the man. Oh, Oculus. And my favorite scene in this. I'm going to have to do at the end when Henry pulls the thing down to destroy the thing and he revealed that it's Kaylee. It's just so well done where you hear the you don't hear a smash, you hear like a thud, and then the camera pans and Kaylee is there. It's like, oh shit, you got his sister. I don't like that he goes back to jail again, but it's just a oh shit moment that it works. And this is Mike Flanagan at his best, man. It might be his best one, movie-wise. But I think it works fantastically. It works like this right kind of scares. You go back and forth. Kind of like what he would do in Haunting of Hill House. You would go back, you go down in your storytelling, and it works. All right, P. Sherlock Holmes. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. No, that's not my favorite scene. My favorite scene is when they're testing out Jesse's powers, and they're like they put Hector's laying on the mattress. They go, blows it. I just love the whole testing where like Jesse goes down the steps and then, or was it Jesse does that thing where he leans, Hector tries to do it, he goes flat on his face. I just love all that stuff. This is my favorite Paranormal Activity movie. A lot of stuff happens in this. I think the characters are great. So when bad stuff starts happening to them, like when Jesse starts to freak out, you feel bad for him. The whole scene at the end. Like I could also say that my other favorite scene is at the end, where you got a Mexican gang with shotguns shooting up old lady witches at this house. Fucking awesome. Q. And now there was only like 2 movies with Q, and they were both called The Quiet Place. And I like this one better than the second one. So my favorite scene is going to be, again, at the end where, spoiler alert, by the way, the dad sacrifices himself. On Father's Day, we talk about this, okay? And to me, that's the ultimate thing. A father doing anything to protect his family, his children, that thing, and it works. You got to watch this when you're alone, or if you know your friends can be quiet while watching it. Because if you got people that are going to talk, like my friend Eric, can't ever watch it with him. He won't shut the fuck up. So, yeah, it would have to be like in quiet. Like even my movie theater experience, I don't think was that bad. Oh, remember, this was 2017, right? 2018? 18. I don't think it was that bad. I think it was pretty well. But, yeah. R. Reanimator. And my favorite scene from Reanimator is the trying to think. Okay. Um, my favorite scene might not be like very PC, but it's the scene. The scene with the head in Barbara Crampton's area. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, I'm trying to think of anything else in this movie, and that keeps coming up. Uh, what did I choose? Oh yeah, okay. But yeah, that's. But this is a great zombie flick, right? Jeremy Combs is fantastic, and the guy who plays David Gale, he's great as the villain in this. A lot of, it works. It works. S. Society. Can you guess my favorite scene in this? How'd you like your tea? Sugar? Black? Or do you want me to pee in it? That's not my favorite scene. No, 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 no. That's not my favorite scene. It is the entirety of the shunting. Hey, son, guess I am a butthead, huh? Just the whole shunting from as soon as they start to the end of the shunt. After he defeats what's his face and they turns him inside out and then they run off. That whole time is my favorite part of the movie. The shunting. It is ridiculous and I love it. T. John Carpenter's The Thing. This is close as you're going to get to a perfect film, folks. I think. And my favorite scene is the blood testing scene, where they're testing the blood, and then the one guy has a heart attack, and they try to fix him, and it bursts through, and so they have to you and him, and then they have to the head comes off, and it crawls around, and yeah. And then there's still another thing in the room with them, and they don't even know it. The uninvited is for you. You. My favorite scene is the twist reveal, where this whole film you presented that Elizabeth Banks has been the villain of this, trying to take over this family, trying to, that she somehow killed the mom, and she's been sleeping with the dad, and you think that she's the villain, but it's revealed that this girl is cracked. And that actually she has not done a bad thing. It's just presented because we're watching from her point of view. And her sister's been dead the entire time. She died at the same time her mom did. And it was done by accident, and that's also to have a psychotic break. And so this whole thing has just been a psychotic break's way of killing this stepmom. Because in her messed up head, it's just, it's a great twist for me. And, yeah, I love it. V. Not allowed to choose. It was either this or Venom, and I would struggle to find any favorite scene in that movie, but I really only seen this once. But the story is worth it. I won a contest from Sinister Cinema for 3 movies that he's done. That he had extra of. Now, I already had this, but I did it for the other 2. And I gave my copy that I already had to a friend of mine. So this is the copy I got from him. I made sure I kept that one and gave the other one to the friend of mine. The one I originally have, because, this is a gift. So I won it. I earned this. But I think this is a great film. You got Stephen Lang, and William Sadler, Martin Cove, Fred Williamson. It's just great. W is going to be White Noise. And White Noise brings me back to the house. We used to live in a house. I had this. And we lived at a big blue house. Old blue. Big blue house. And when you were alone and it was dark, I still say the house was haunted, by the way. But I was alone. I watched this in the living room, and it is creepy. It's unsettling. Even the first time I watched it here, it's kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Like the first time I watched The Strangers here, it was creepy. Locked the door. But yeah, Michael Keaton is great in this. My favorite scene is when he saves the baby from the light. I feel like that shows that he can be a hero. You know what I mean? X is X. And this is just fantastic. And my favorite scene is when they kill RJ. When she kills RJ, and you get the whole thing. And it kind of plays into what Pearl would be like. But it doesn't overdo the whole thing like in Pearl. This is just one moment of what her life was like. And you get to see movies. So, titties. Y. You're next. It's the only one in Y. Just like X was the only one in X. I'm not a big fan of this film. I don't really have a favorite scene. I've only seen this once. But I think it's a great little slasher home invasion flick. But Z, Lord Almighty, I feel my temperature rising. And similar to Y, it was the only one I had in there. So it's Zombieland Double Tap. And while I don't like this better than the first one, I still enjoy this movie. My favorite scene is, I gotta say, is the opening scene set to Metallica. Master puppets are going insane. Runaway train, that whole thing. Just on the lines, but yeah. So there it is. ABC, Scotty's ABCs of horror. So, what are your thoughts on that? What are your movies that you would go, your horror movies you would go A through Z on? In the comments below, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.